Hello guys and welcome back. Yesterday, SK Gaming brought out the Elise to secure victory over G2. Now, to showcase how the champion works, I have two examples here to run through. The first one, we're going to start with a clickbait title, so I've chosen a T1 clip because I know we all care about that. Now, for Elise to probably work, there's two things you really want. Well, one thing is a bot lane that gets priority. The other one is you want to have the Elise pathing bot side. Now, the reason why this is so good is usually due to the fact that with a stacked up wave, and when Elise comes down to dive, you can just press the repel button when you're diving, and it's super easy to pull it off. As you roll up the clip, you can see there's a lot of different things they've already prepared for themselves. They have the vision control already given, so they know if enemy jungler is moving down as well. As you can currently see, bot lane is getting that control we're talking about at the same time as well. And as soon as they spot the opponent jungler, well, Faker is going to assume that he needs to come down as well to give that extra support. Now, as we finally find them here, I don't really care what happens in this play, because once again, it's quite simple. It's the Elise. You pull up the gank. What you really just want here is the tracking of no with more members coming down, the fact you can have your mid laner come down as well, and just pull out the dive. And as we fast forward, you can see they go for it, they get a few kills, they get the first blood, 2-4-1 comes through in the end. Now we're going to take a look at the superiority. We're going to take a look at SK instead. And what SK pulled off yesterday is pretty much the same. You have that bot lane with bot lane priority that allows you to pull in with the lane. You have a jungler pathing down towards the bot side. So you pretty much got all your check marks there for how you want to play the Elise. Now, there's actually going to happen something really cool here from the side of Makun. He's currently on Vision. He's going to walk this way to pretend like he's walking into the enemy jungle. But what you actually see is that he's going to path down towards the bot lane again to kind of fake the enemy in terms of where he's coming in from. In the end, I do believe they will spot him before coming in on a ward that will be placed down in River, as you can see in a second there. But at this point, it's already too late. Jankers, if we take a look at the minimap, you can see he's actually on the opposite side of the map. And this means that SK just gets full leeway to play around the bot side once again. Now, Elise, remember, super strong power pick. What's this right here? You're in towards the enemy turret. You have a stack wave coming in. You have the Elise. You have an isolated bot lane. What's going to happen? Once again, we don't care. We know exactly what happens with the Elise. They're going to get the 2 kills instead with Mickey still stuck under the turret. And once again, T1, they had a member die. SK didn't lose a single member. So I'm just saying, looking pretty good.
I love that.
The better team, in my
Literally
opinion.
better team indeed. Thank you so much for that, GB. Elise is a pick that we used to see all the time. I personally think it's really cool, and she's still as good as ever at tower diving.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, though, how in this iteration of the meta, we're seeing Elise's path bot side a whole lot more. Because you think about, like, old metas, it would be like you're Elise Renekton, you're always pathing to dive the top lane. But I think this is a direct correlation to the meta of bot lane champions, right? Back in the day, you had your Nautilus, your Refreshes down at support. Now, so much more of these range supports makes it much easier to punish them under tower.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this comes down to how support items function right now. It's so easy for the Heimerdingers, for the Ashes, for all of these people who really just wants the bot lane priority early, get the vision advantage, and then starts rotating around the map. It's way easier playing around your bot lane than it is with your top lane, especially since you can secure the Drake and move up to Herald afterwards.
And SK did that masterfully yesterday versus G2. The question is, can they do it again this time versus Vitality? They had a game plan, and Markoon was on fire. He was everywhere he needed to be. Now he's up versus Bo. So the question is, will there be a similar game plan? And how, I won't say, yeah, you know, it was easy for them yesterday to do it.
They had pretty easy.
They had G2's cards.
I do think they're playing against a different style of jungler, though, right? Yike was much more about going for the invade, even in that clip. He's invading the top side of the map. Bo has been much more about finding the early game ganks. You can see he's been playing a lot of the champions. Even the Graves, he was finding a level 2 gank. So for someone like Markoon, this is where you have the option. Because I think in the previous game against Yike, his first idea with the Elise was, I'm going to go invade and try to fight the enemy Graves in his jungle. When Graves wasn't there, the dive is a great option for him as well. He talked a little bit about that on the desk yesterday. But against a more active ganking jungler, you can try to match the early ganking, or you can pick something like the Graves and try to accelerate in the farm department.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to watch the jungle matchup specifically. And reason for that is also, if you only looked at the game yesterday isolated, Bo on the Maokai, it actually took a really long time for him to get it going. And it looked dire for Vitality versus Astralis in the beginning. That's a fact that can't really be denied. Whereas Markoon yesterday, once again, isolated, right? he had a great showing on the Elise. He was the one getting the ball rolling. And that was very reminiscent of what he did in summer when he was on the volleyball the entire time. Remember, that's how he really got his claim to fame. The fact that he was down in bot side diving all the time, getting the lead going.
Yeah, indeed. And when we look at kind of the context of then, a lot of times the volley bear wouldn't get banned out because there were a lot of other targets on that lineup as well. We'll have to see if Vitality is willing to leave that ball rolling. I think maybe they're just going to say, no, we'll take it for ourselves or we're ban it away. We do not want to deal with it.
Yeah, I think one thing that worked really well for Bo was the Vi in the game up against the Mad Lions. Like the Vi with the Azir in mid lane for Perks like worked so flawlessly. And I'm just thinking to myself, like these characters with really high like range to gap close and get on you, like the Vi, seemed super effective because Bo as a player is a guy that can just see fights, know he's going to win and take them. So having something that can close the gap so hard like the Vi can be super effective. Wukong as well, perhaps some of the big champions like the Sejuani and the Maokai get banned.
Yeah, 100%. And I like the callback to the mid lane synergy coming through with Bo and Perks yesterday. I think Perk actually showed up a lot, especially in this game yesterday when he was playing. And a person that showed up even more was Certus when he was playing his game yesterday. It made it really easy for them to play just due to the fact that Caps was always pushed under his turret. Certus was always the guy allowing that to be mid lane priority. So even if we go back to the clip and we watch a jungler who wants to play for the bot side, you never had to worry about enemy mid laner moving as well. So it's going to be curious to see if we can see the same kind of form show up today, because we heard SK talking. They needed to get rid of the nerfs. So it's just like, we need to treat it as a scrim game, right?
And it seems like they did maybe yesterday. Hopefully they can tank a lot of confidence from that one in this race for getting to the top 8 for SK. Will Vitality remain undefeated, or can SK upset another top team? Cadel and Dracos, over to you.
It's an excellent question, Shocks. We're excited to find out here. We've already got SK here on stage waiting for Vitality to join them. Moments away, hopefully, from Champ Select. Knock on wood.
Need to go backstage and do your pre-game rituals.
Yep. Oh, they shout.
Yeah, they shout, make lots of noise, get themselves amped up. Do you know a funny story?
Yeah.
So I used to play with a top laner called Expect.
Yes.
His pre-game ritual was to grab an entire can of Red Bull, down the whole thing in 5 seconds.
Did it give him wings with 3 eyes?
Close. Walks on stage, sits down, and then complains that he's sick for 5 minutes in draft. And then he plays like a monster in game. But that happens every single game once he destroyed the Red Bull can. So every single time he was just saying, I'm so sick, I don't know if we can play this game, maybe you have to sub me out. And he was actually being serious. So yeah, everyone has some interesting pre-game rituals. I know Perks, back when I was a pro, I'd always find him in the cafeteria having green tea.
Green tea.
Green tea is his ritual.
I saw Yankos walking through the hallways with like 3 waffles in his hands, trying to explain to me that the waffles were really tasty.
Okay.
So that might have been his pre-game ritual.
Just like an absolute like carbs coma.
Yeah.
Midway through the game.
Yeah. I like food is a good pre-game, I feel
Yeah.
like. And what I will say, to support Goldberg's point from earlier, is that whatever Certus did for pregame yesterday, he should do again today. Because this man, absolute monster.
Yeah.
You can see full confidence on stage today. I don't know what he's talking about, but he's looking happy while he does it.
He's using a lot of words that are inappropriate for broadcast, trying to gas his team up.
Got it. He's saying Yumi.
Yep.
He's saying Heimerdinger support. Those are bad
support.
words.
How dare he? So, big ban phase. Jack's taken away from the side of Vitality. I wonder if there's an Elise ban on the cards for Vitality. With blue side, you can target ban a little bit. But we'll see. Taking away some of the bot lane picks, no surprise. I think the drafts are on 13-1. I don't want to say obvious, but jungle bot is basically where you lean towards unless things like Ryze are open, Jax are open, maybe early rotation Cassante. But it's mostly just Maokai, Sejuani, and then bot lane picks. Lucian, Nami still up, Yumi still up.
Yeah, bot lane feels pretty wide open, although as we say it, Lucian is going to get taken off the board. See how SK want to respond. And a big part of SK's win yesterday against G2 was Marcoon in the early game. Creative pathing, really shutting down the enemy bot lane. And then able to snowball otherwhere. So, ooh, okay. Interestingly, the Zeri still up and available. There it is. That was a weak boo. Did we like Yumi? Are there Yumi fans in the house?
There is
wow,
one
okay,
Yumi
well,
fan.
You know what? Respect you. That is in fact...
I can see him, but he's in the back screaming, oh, there's a guy with a sign saying, I love Yumi.
Well, that is...
We'll see if he gets out of the studio alive.
That is a based take.
That is a based take.
There it is. Truly unconventional.
Unconventional indeed. And we might get some unconventional picks here of a Zeri takeaway from the Yumi. And then a Sivir, and then maybe a Zeri Lulu. Sejuani Maokai's up. I think Maokai would be a steal here for SK.
But I will
say
work, though, that I do... As much as I don't love these bot lane matchups, I really prefer for any European team, take the nameplates off, late game scaling. And,
Yeah.
you know, whatever Sivir versus Zeri combo you're going to have, we can go late with that.
Or Kai'Sa Xayah.
I mean, obviously I would prefer that, but like,
Kai'Sa Xayah is pretty fun to watch.
Kai'Sa Xayah is fun to watch.
So they've gone for the Elise again here, SK. Worked for them last time yesterday. A lot of bot dives going on against G2. Incredible win for them. Now up against Vitality, who's the other undefeated team. We'll see if they can keep their streak of defeating undefeateds, the Titans. I think Sivir here, yeah, no-brainer. For Vitality, it's just kind of a case of what jungler they want to go for. Is it going to be an aggressive jungler for Bo? Graves is taken away. Makes it a bit more complicated. Vi can work into the Zeri very well. A bit more of a skirmish-heavy champ rather than something like the Sejuani or Maokai, who's more of a beefy frontline. While the Maokai can be more of a poke champ as well, depending on how you build it.
Debating here. Maokai will be the lock-in, so going to match the jungle there.
So
I do like having the Maokai, just the additional information it can provide for you. Obviously, the team fight power, but in the early game, Elise going to do a lot of work here. Have to imagine that the Lulu gets locked here for the side of SK. Now, last time around, I believe the Lulu was banned. They went for the Renata in the bot lane for DOS, and it did look good. So maybe they're feeling like they can let this go through, that they don't need to pick a support here, but that would be very surprising, and it is just going to be the Lulu. Okay.
jungle bot lane, yeah, bread and butter of the patch. Now it just gets down to who gets K'Sante in his ear, because I feel like we saw that mistake happen a few times yesterday of like, I'm going to play Akali, I'm going to play Sylas, I'm going to play something more skirmish heavy. And then the Azir just kind of hits you with 3 items, and you're like, wow, that was a mistake.
This is good. I'm glad I made this decision to try to outskill this guy who just has
You can
clearly
just sit there
stronger
auto-attacking
champion.
me from a different screen. Jace taken away from Vitality. Don't want to give them any Jace shenanigans with the Maokai poke. Makes it really hard to walk into River.
Additionally, I think banning Jace away from, I think so far one of the best performing top laners in the league, and Photon makes a lot of sense if that is something that he wanted to pick up. One of the players who certainly could bust it out. The Azir already taken off the board, so maybe we just get rid of all of the scaling in the mid lane, and we get to see some really fun skirmish heavy psycho picks.
The LCK was playing Irelia. Closer and Chovy were pulling that out. AP jungler, AD mid. But then you
Elise
realize
Irelia?
it's one of those games where it's like, I'm Irelia, I have 200 CS, I'm 0-0-0, I'm going to go in a team fight. Wow, Maokai just pressed W on me, I can't move. So we'll see if they go down that route. Mages, I mean, Syndra's up, Renekton's up, which pairs really well with the Elise on top side. Set is something we've seen from T1. Goober was breaking down a Telestrator where they were playing the Elise set.
Gnar blind, that's my guess.
Gnar blind. I like
Gnar
it.
blind.
See if they go for it. Renekton, Gnar, any kind of AD top would work. Could also just take away the Syndra from perks. Many options here for SK. Comfort is key in terms of solo lanes. Kassadin is something I'd be a bit wary of.
Yep.
So if they pick Renekton here and then they pick a mage
Okay,
mid,
all right.
I think Kassadin has an angle somewhere in this draft, so they need to be careful both sides.
Waiting the options now. Okay, so the Renekton is definitely a solid blind pick. What is the option going to be here for Photon?
In the Jax is banned. Could go for something a bit skill matchup like the Fiora. I think Neon's taunting. Oh no, he's actually going to go for the Ornn.
Wow, okay.
Okay.
Now,
Full team fight for Vitality.
this is what peak European League of Legends looks like right here. I want you to look at that comp on the left and understand that this is the EU special.
Ooh, Tristana mid.
Oh,
Okay.
Tristana and Sivir.
That is, yeah, that denies any kind of Kassadin pick. Syndra is probably the best response here. Any kind of mage that can stop the Tristana in her tracks, Syndra is one of the best. LeBlanc can kind of work, but you get pushed in. Ari also in a similar boat, but Syndra has a little bit more skirmish power next to the Elise. But yeah, Tristana with Maokai and Ornn, Yuumi, you already have 3 semi-AP champs there. Double AD carry, front to back. Vitality's comes very obvious. SK's similar front to back, but a lot more skirmish heavy. Less frontline, more single target damage. So if they can burn through Bo or get on top of perks with a stun from the Elise or the Renekton or the Syndra, then getting down those carries, Vitality lose a lot of damage.
And I really like that they've managed to secure themselves the Elise Renekton combo. A lot of potential dives right here, hoping that they can find more creative paths in the early game to look to snowball this one, because looking at Vitality's composition, if we go late, ease of execution is heavily in favor of Vitality. They can push R on like 3 of their champions and have a pretty clear path to winning a team fight. A little bit more difficult for SK, especially if they are even into the game, are going to need to rely more on Renekton flanking or the Elise flanking, which will be much harder in a potentially even game state.
Definitely will be, so we'll see what can happen. I think it's definitely in the ball's in SK's field here for the first 15-20 minutes of the game to make something happen. Vitality can use their Tristana to move around the map, so we'll see if Bo path towards Perks, try to get Syndra's flash a little bit early on to relieve a little bit of pressure for him to actually help his team and cover those Elise dives. But yeah, Vitality undefeated. Bo, he's 14, 15-0 right now in major leagues. Who will hand him his first loss? It would be
Marcoon, you know, took down a young rookie yesterday. Can he take down another new name in the LEC? Riding on this game. Let's find out. It is time for Vitality versus SK.
So first strike Maokai, no phase rush. So I expect Bo to go towards the Demonic Embrace Leandry's build. Just be a full poke champion. Hail of Blades for Perks. I wonder if he has Demolish or anything along those lines. Normally you saw Tristana mid being picked into Twisted Fate because of the amount of push potential that Tristana can have. Photon actually getting collapsed on here. He's going to have to flash, I think.
Nice early advantage for the side of SK. Taking away the Orange Flash can make this lane so much more oppressive in favor of the Renekton, especially when we look ahead towards potential dives from the Elise if she does want to opt to start on the bottom side. Now, good heads-up play from Neon and Kaiser in response. They are moving into that bot side jungle, placing a late ward to make sure that they can track where the Elise does start. Again, if she starts bottom, you can expect her to potentially be diving top, and the opposite if she starts the top side.
Absolutely right. Really good sandwich there from SK. 3 men through top, down into the river brush where they expect Photon to be standing. That's level 1 scouting. You know, one of your coaches is just watching all of their games and sees that he has a habit of standing in the exact same spot every game, and then you can take advantage of that, capitalize on it. We'll see if Marcoon does something similar to what he did yesterday, where he can do something like, you know, red here into Raptors and then Krugs, early top dive, Photon no flash, then base and go bot side. But top lane is not really the most important role to get ahead here. The Orin will still buy Ruby Crystals and still stand in your face and be tanky. Renekton being ahead won't save you the game. It's the Zeri Lulu that needs to be ahead. The reason bot lane is so powerful is because they can dictate the pace of the game. They can, you know, push out, get the tower, help you throw Drakes. They can lane swap around the map, start forcing 2v1s and such. So SK getting the upper hand in the early trade. Lulu really powerful on these level 1s.
Certainly, with the passive, really starts to feel like she essentially has 2 abilities at level 1 compared to the Yuumi, who it's going to feel a little bit lackluster at this stage of the game, even with the extra summoner spell. But obviously the cooldown on that's so significant that short of an all-in, it's not going to be great. Race to level 2 here now as Neon rapidly clearing this wave. XK going to take over. Das not going to get level 2.
Oftentimes when you get level 2 first in a Lulu Yuumi lane, what you see sometimes happen is the Lulu takes W and then just flash W's the Yuumi, and maybe they can get an all in there. But yeah, Das didn't get the level up and didn't have vision either. Photon irrelevant, lots of trades. So Marcoon has done the 3 camps and he's moved into top side. He's going to find Bo here.
Bo's going to be in trouble here. This is going to be difficult. Marcoon now looking to lock him down. Leaps up, comes right back down. Bo moving back into the camp, flashing out to safety. Marcoon just going to run him down on an absolute tear here in the early game. 2 games back to back, finding these big advantages. And Perks now trying to trade back a bit of damage going down onto Certus. Zone him out of that one, but excellent start for SK.
Perks had to flash too. The Syndra stun was about to hit him. If that landed, then Marcoon could follow up the cocoon and he would get chunked out and have to TP back already. Really good pathing from Marcoon on this Elise. Punishes Bo on his clear. Doesn't take away any camps, so Bo should be able to pick those up. The smite did come down, but the wolf didn't die. So first blood to him. And he knows that Bo has to go back towards those top camps. Now, what does Marcoon do with this? Does he instantly run bot and look for a dive on the next wave? Neon and Kaiser very low. Or does he start to clear his camps? Let's keep an eye on the Elise. Looks like he's just running straight towards the bot side. Scuttle crabs up.
Does look like he... Not sure if he got spotted by that ward there in the end, but we'll take out the crab and it'll just be a trade for both junglers. But now calls on the bottom side. If you're in-house, you can hear the SK players shouting, looking for this opportunity. Stunned is going to connect on the Kaiser. That is one dead cat! Neon potentially the next one on the list. Marcoon debating if they can go for the dive here. Ignite ticking, but he's just going to jump back to the wave. And again, incredibly dominant early game start from SK Gaming on the back of Marcoon's Elise.
And they're having so much fun. You can hear them laughing through these soundproof headsets that we're even using. So they're laughing really hard, really good calls coming in, and that's the flash polymorph I was talking about on the Yuumi if she oversteps. Chain CC was there. Bo going to clear out his blue buff now, try to get some information as to where Marcoon will be in the next couple of minutes. They know he's bot side for now, but they want to spot him as he moves back towards his top side. Could look for Irrelevant if he wraps around, but Photon is quite low. Irrelevant's half HP. See how the wave state is. Do they have the damage to kill the Renekton is the question. Level 3 Maokai. Level up here for the Renekton. I think Bo is unsure.
I mean, Photon's low on mana. They don't have an Ignite to stop the healing.
Don't know if they have the
Level 5,
damage.
3 points in Q. This really shouldn't be possible. Can just dash through Bo here. Good Q though from Bo. That's going to be big. Maybe they can turn this one back. Flash out to safety from Relevant. It looks like they will have the damage in the end. Well played by Bo. Beautiful arcane smash.
Yeah, really, really good. Stops the Renekton from getting the E through him and then looking to be able to flash E out. So they did have the damage. Early kill over to Bo, but again, it's not really about the Maokai, the Renekton, the Ornn. It's about getting bot lane ahead, I think, or getting carries ahead. No flash on Perks. Certus, does he have the cooldown on his QE? Gonna miss the Q. Nice dodge by Perks.
Anticipating sidestep here, and again, the name of the game for Vitality is scaling. Easy to see when you have double 80 carries on your lineup. The fact that they're starting this far behind, though, in the early game is a bit disastrous, but again, it's going to be about Marcoon further snowballing these advantages, or bot lane further snowballing their advantages.
Yep. Nice hold on the wave there by DOS. Make sure his 80 carry can get a small CS lead. And actually, the kill going over to Bo does help, of course, because he will go the AP build.
Yeah, the sooner you get Demonic Embrace, the sooner you really just start to take over the enemy jungle with this Maokai. So much information from the saplings, and they do so much damage against champions who really aren't going to build defensive stats in mid and jungle. It becomes so hard to roam, to make any kind of proactive plays yourself.
Ooh, that pink ward is doing work. They didn't check the bush. I think Marcoon placed that before he based. So a lot of information as to where Bo is. They know he's on Krugs. Irrelevant can play as aggressive as he wants. Ooh, we might find Neon here. No flash.
Area. Ooh. A little bit wide on that one. Maybe anticipating some more forward stepping there from Neon.
Yeah, I mean, he was predicting his movement, but Neon pinked and then turned around instantly, so it looked a little bit silly there for Marcoon. Bot crabs up. That's what both these junglers are trying to contest. Marcoon has dropped a lot of camps to keep the pace up of the game. He has a lot of bot push, and Bo is in the river, but he doesn't have any mid push to collapse onto this Maokai. Bo has the smite, so does Marcoon. We'll see who gets the crab on the minimap, but there's a fight in bot right now, trying to zone Neon back from these creeps.
It's a kick stepping forward. Damage not quite going to connect there. The Ultra Shock laser not going through the wall is... Level 6 is there for both top laners, but a fight could be breaking out on the bottom side. Bo with the XP advantage. Moving in to start this Drake, though, is a bit risky. Marcoon only level 4.
He tried to repel over the wall to start the dragon by avoiding the scuttle, but there's a ward in the pit, so now they know Elise has no repel, and they show on the crab ward anyway. There's a chance for Vitality to collapse here if their bot lane can arrive. Looks like they just want to push out the wave and base. Bo could steal it with a sapling maybe, but I doubt that'll happen.
No, just wait. Good patience from Marcoon. Let's sapling connect, and then it goes for the smite. So at the end of the day, SK grabbing the objective, further extending that early lead, but DOS, I like it. It's a little psycho, playing with fire here, but we'll stop both bases, and Exekick now level 6 means Neon and Kaiser have to be very careful.
They do. No flash on Neon just yet. They have barrier, heal, exhaust, so they have a lot of peel defensive tools. Maybe they feel confident enough to step up. See if they can get that wave on the tower there. Herald spawning in 15 seconds. These double pinks from SK here, just doing so much work on the entrances. Ward over the wall as well. Feels like it's quite hard for Bo to be unspotted, but I think he is at the moment. Looking around the mid lane. Doesn't have the ultimate. Does have the flash, twisted advance. Certs has flash to match though.
Again from Perks, damage in, is just going to try to lock me down. He's been brought back under tower. Marcoon going to go wide on the Cocoon, and that's going to be big. Now it's going to be one at least taken down. Perks now looking for the reset. Will leap right back over the wall. DOS in the area as well. There's just no way. DOS going to take him out. 2 for 1 in favor of SK here eventually. Yeah. No. There it is.
He's gone. So 2 kills over force from Vitality. SK are just running away with this early game. They're going to get a Herald off the back of this as well. So early Dragon, early kills on the Elise. 2-0-2. Marcoon leading the charge for SK as he did yesterday. And that's a flash down on the Maokai as well. That's the problem with flash Wing someone with flash up. They can just take you under the tower with them.
Yeah.
Normally you just want to get the ult out first to get their flash and then go. One second, Bo is just walking in here.
Level 6.
Can he get there in time?
Unconcerned. Can just start to throw out the ultimate. They might not be able to grab the Herald, but they're going to at least be able to grab a kill. Ulti coming in from Photon. Just going to get a bit of poke down onto Relevant.
Marcoon dead.
Ult.
Nice stunts. Neon spell shielded it. Has
goes
the Raptor.
Up, back to the Raptors. Neon now flashing forward. He desperately wants to shut down an extra 150 gold in his pocket. It goes over to the Yuumi, but he's not complaining.
Good response from Vitality. Bo's kind of aware of how long it'll take for SK to take that Herald down, knowing that he can punish them on the exit route because there's no flash on the Elise. DOS, not much he can do, trying to zone away Bo, but he has flash up, yes, but there's too much CC. Can't get far enough away to merit using the flash. Perks is going to be in time for bot wave. Neon takes over mid, so small lane swaps coming in from Vitality. And SK's early game has been strong, but Vitality are still up in gold.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I think impressive that they are able to build an advantage when they were so far behind early on. Bo really staying, keeping his eyes on the prize, farming out, contesting those objectives, grabbing those kills. It's going to be interesting to see now what they actually get done here on the side of SK, how they can try to gain control of this game once again.
I think the thing that stings the most here is SK didn't get the Herald buff. If they had that, bot tower would be down on the next wave with Marcoon coming down and Perkz having to base. So they can't crack open the game. That would have been a huge gold swing if they could have just taken that tower, put in the Zeri mid, leave Syndra bot with TP, but that's not available now that the buff wasn't picked up. Maybe a plate here for Certus. Perkz still yet to base, has the Hex Drinker first item. I mean, against at least Syndra, it makes sense. Makes it very hard to look for dives.
Yeah, 100 zeroing Perkz is going to be very, very difficult. He's more than happy to just keep farming up. Range advantage only going to get more in his favor as the levels start to come through. Certus, though, getting some good poke down here. Has not used the ultimate either. Overall, Vitality doing well to even out what was a pretty difficult early game. Again, credit to Marcoon for finding 2 games back-to-back, these early advantages for the Elise, but the mid-game, late games where Vitality get really scary. Just a trade of abilities here, both throwing out the ultimate trade for the Cocoon of Marcoon.
Just keeping my eyes on bots, watching Exakick and DOS their movement around this tri-bush. They're just keeping the waves on the tower and constantly hovering. It makes it so hard for Bo to even walk into this river. They're just sitting on this pink ward, so Vitality are just constantly saying, bot lane's missing, you need to be really careful. And maybe they can find them. I'm gonna step up and clear wards here. Q out there to see if they can hear the sound of someone being there. And like you said, nice backstep. Maybe they can land a Cocoon on the Yuumi. No, dodges away.
Wide. This is where it starts to get difficult. Marcoon has to be careful. He's going to into the air and just go right back down on the minion line on the retreat.
On the way comes Certus to help them if they overextend. The whole idea is keeping this bot push and keeping that pink ward alive. That gives them access to mid first and also allows them to start Drake in the next 40 seconds. Certus lands the stun.
In trouble. Big ulti now coming out. Perkz leaping out to safety. Hexdringer keeping him standing, but Certus now should have total control of this wave. That said, TP up and available for Perkz.
Yep, has the TP. Should be able to get back into the lane in time. We'll lose a creep for it. Doesn't have to burn a summoner, but Syndra's going to do more and more damage. No ability power on Certus just yet. It's only sorcerer shoes, so once he gets towards that Lost Chapter, that Ludens is going to hurt even more as Perkz tries to build towards his Mythic, expecting a Kraken Slayer here. A lot of pressure relieved bot there, though, because Certus has no more spells and has to base, which means it turns into a 3v3, so Vitality can actually start fighting back. No more numbers disadvantage, but Dragon spawning in 5 seconds' time. No Syndra ultimate. Marcoon's given up. A little bit of the bot lane access. Bo will get this Dragon, you have to imagine, as Exakick and DOS have also recalled.
And now it seems like Bo will be able to match the opposition in terms of grabbing a single Drake here. Find out what Rift it's going to be, what Soul will be on the line for both of these teams. Infernal could be a... No, not Infernal. Ocean will be a big deal in a game like this.
Hextech would be the strongest one. And it's going to be Cloud.
Cloud, nice.
Shout out to Atlas, shout out to the LCK.
Yep.
Their favorite. So now we've got a bit of a shift in the lanes. Bot lane's gone towards mid. Both solo lanes are bots without TP. And Marcoon is now taking away camps on the top side. Of course, he hears the Dragon die. Needs to get something in return, even if it's small. It's going to be a Grump. Here comes a Force in mid.
In. Flash out from DOS. Good awareness.
Yeah, good flash. If that root lands, he's going to get chain CC'd and die. Sivir ult used. No Yuumi ult used yet, though, so they can look for a replay when Bo revisits mid on next wave. Perkz jumping forward, trying to get some trade on. Nice bone plating rune there from Certus, helping him out when the Tristana does look for those all-ins.
You can see, though, that it's a little bit difficult for the Syndra. You obviously want to use the Scatter of the Week for the trade for the additional damage, but ideally you're using it to interrupt the rocket jump of the Tristana.
Mythics haven't been built just yet, but there's the Blade picked up for Irrelevant, which means against the Ornn he'll have a little bit more pressure. But the Ornn in teamfights is going to be an absolute monster against champions like Syndra. It's going to be very hard for her to weave through the fights. And the Maokai saplings are going to do more and more and more damage. Of course, you put points in Q early, but then as the game progresses, you can start putting points in E, get towards Leanderies, and then start controlling this river. Plate over to Photon as they swap Certus top.
Bring him down. I guess concerned about the kill pressure from Perkz there. Not entirely sure, but ultimately gonna just try to find the lane setup that they are the most comfortable with here.
Yeah, 45 seconds on Herald. And I think the reason they're doing this is Irrelevant has TP.
Yep.
Certus doesn't. Herald's up.
Makes sense.
We need to make a 5v5 happen. And looks like he'll get a bot tower on the reset anyway. So first brick over to the Renekton.
But the gold, I mean, dead even. We're on 15 minutes in. It's 4 kills to 4. It's 1 Drake to 1. The tower, the only thing separating them, but all these towers are going to get lower.
It's going to come down to one explosive fight around the Dragon or a Herald. There's a Night Harvester for the Elise. Soon we'll see the item being picked up by Syndra, whether it's Ludens or Liandry's, whatever it may be. And once those mythics are complete, I think that's when SK should feel very confident, start forcing.
Tense game
Bo's
here.
going in here.
Getting pulled back over the wall. Marcoon going a little bit wide there on the Cocoon. You have to feel that he could have waited for that one. Bo getting
TP.
sped up and zoomed out to safety.
Little bit quick on the trigger there, I think. SK. It's not going to hurt too much though, because the Herald is up. Can push Perks back. Bo doesn't have the ultimate now. And now they can look to force this Herald, you have to imagine, after Certus pushes out top. X-Kicks lost access to his ult too. This is where the fight will happen. Does SK give it up or do they fight it? Irrelevant spacing. He has no TP left, so it looks like SK is saying, we don't have the position for this. We don't have the position to take this fight.
It's hard. I mean, you're looking at Photon at level 11. 2 ranks in the Ornn ultimate up and available for this fight. I don't know how much easier it gets if we go later into the game for the side of SK. The Ornn items are going to start to come through pretty soon here after this exchange. SK finally ready to contest, but Demonic Embrace Maokai, isn't that fun and interactive?
Oh, it's reset, and Irrelevant actually ran from base back here. It's just Marcoon's taking so much damage from all this poke. Needs to heal up on maybe red buff, just pick up that buff, and then get the regen from it, and then maybe just buy time. Ornn items slowly coming in. Photon's trying to craft up some more items before this fight. Doesn't have access to the upgrades yet. Pushing top from Perks, Irrelevant's matching. Midwave's constantly in SK's favor.
Neon doing what he can to clear this wave out. SK just trying to leverage his priority to start to poke their head into the jungle, or rather into the river. Spot out this Herald.
Top Perks is dead.
Perks just gonna get isolated and taken down by Irrelevant. That's just a straight up solo kill. Marcoon comes, but he's not even on the assist board.
What happened in top? I mean, Perks doesn't have any real armor to fight against the Renekton, but he's used his flash. Irrelevant has as well. Maybe he was greeding for the tower or something along those lines, and then...
Yeah, does get the tower.
Irrelevant got the gap closed. Gale Force picked up for Perks, bit of a mobility. Doesn't really, I guess he doesn't really need Kraken perhaps against SK. Doesn't really have any front line, but does more damage overall. Herald over to SK. They can use that mid to crack open the tower, give them access to the next dragon. Looking forward to seeing that replay as to what actually happened to Perks there, because obviously when he falls, the whole Herald play just falls apart as well.
Yeah.
Around a minute or two spent from both sides trying to set that up, look for something. Dragon's up soon, of course. So we'll see SK move towards bot side. There's the Liandry's for Certus.
That's going to be big in the fights to come. Extra damage, especially against those beefier targets.
Wow. Just ease through a creep. Perks must not have W then. They must have used W a little bit earlier on, the rocket jump. Relevant just ease through a creep. Flash stuns him and he flashes it as well there. Perks, but yeah, second E comes in. Blade of the Ring King Renekton. So much damage. We'll get close to that Prowler's Claw, so even more damage and gap close coming in soon.
Yeah.
Midwave contest, Perks on the way.
Seeing what they can get done here. Neon obviously incredible wave clear at this stage of the game. X-Kick doing what he can to fire back. Vitality full control over the objective. In the straight 5v5, you have to feel like Vitality are favored. Again, if SK can find flanks, if they can find angles, maybe they can get something done here. But with Relevant, no flash, no ultimate, no TP, and moving towards the top side, I think they are just going to concede this Cloud Drake.
They are. Looks like they're going to Herald mid, you have to imagine here. With all of them being in the bot side river, they can just pressure mid. See how Vitality responds. They could just look for a Maokai ult here. Perks TP is up in 5. That will be their angle for a fight. Or they can just go mid to top here, SK. There's the Maokai ult,
there.
But yeah, there's not much of a fight to be had here. They're too far now. SK can just rotate towards top, take top tier 1. And that's the advantage of not fighting that Drake. They can look for towers. Perks matches with a bot tower. So SK needs to now be careful of the replay from Vitality, where they can just start forcing mid. Certus might have to TP back here, but he's running bot. Exakic's alone mid. Looks like he'll be able to hold on as the rest of Vitality scatter towards the side lanes.
Perks now. Looks like for now he's just going to look to contest blue buff. Did not want to collapse mid there. Always risky with a Tristana in the side lane to push too aggressively. Champion just shreds through towers so quickly. But will be grabbed by Perks.
He just ulted? Yeah, he did. Maybe really scared of the Syndra Wing it. That's the biggest threat there.
Maybe he just really didn't want the blue buff to touch him.
Just really didn't like it.
Yeah, just not a fan.
Just wanted to throw the ult at him. It gets red as well, so it's almost like an Ivern Bo right now. Just trying to give buffs to his... Gonna give him the Krugs too? Oh, good guy Bo.
And, you know, caster narrative. Perks, former 80 carry.
True.
80 carry battle between Neon and Perks. See who will come out on top.
Are we gonna get a game where it's like Akshan top, Tristana mid, Kalista Caitlyn bot?
No.
Just 4 marksmen?
Please, no.
As the game just gets deeper and deeper into these 80 carry pools, like Ezreal jungle throwback.
To be fair, if you can build a team with the Shy and Carry on it, I'll give you that team composition.
I think the Shy and Carry on the same team would probably have pulled that out already, actually. 5 marksmen.
Everything's a flex pick.
Get Perks in there as well in mid. Who's going where?
To be honest, I mean, the game has slowed down a lot. I feel like we were at a pretty breakneck speed when Marcoon was in control in the early game, but now both sides trading some kills, trading some objectives, but neither side looking to overcommit, so we're not really getting these big breakout fights. That said, pick on the side lane potentially here is Photon, flashing out to safety. Doesn't even need to go unstoppable quite yet, just buffers the stun on the E.
Got his flash, but they showed 2 tops, so now Vitality can run mid, but Exakick just popping emotes, knowing he already got the wave. There's no way they can get this tower. Perk's gonna recall and has TP. Certus will catch bot wave. I think the biggest benefit that Vitality has right now is the CS difference in mid is 50, yes, but it's also the experience difference. Certus is over a level down on this Tristana, so should be able to control the side wave. Still no flash on this Ornn, but no flash on the Renekton either.
Irrelevant, it's gonna get knocked up. He should just be chain CC. There's just not enough healing in the game to keep that Crocodile standing.
Do they look for a play here? They have TP on the Ornn. SK is trying to push them back to deny them any kind of Baron start here. But double AD carry on Nash can burn straight through it. There's the TP from Photon right behind them, but he has no ult, so it's a bit awkward.
Yeah.
See if he can force a flash match from Certus.
Be back in response. Photon taking a decent amount of damage in the exchange. Certus now TPing into the mid lane as you called out, Cadril.
Feels a bit wasted. Maybe he thought, oh, hang on a second, maybe it's not.
In there, they're trying to lock down Exakick. He's immediately going to get ulted in by the Lulu, but the exhaust on the Certus stops the ulti from finishing off any member of Vitality. Photon now walking away to safety. Perks with a quick knock back and leap out.
Relevant has TP as well. There's walls all around them. Here comes the TP on a pink. I think Bo should spot that out soon.
Irrelevant now coming in.
He's gonna die.
Irrelevant leaping over the wall. He's just gonna one-shot the tree, and now he gets him. Prowler's Clock used, but Irrelevant finding the kill. SK can just set their sights on Baron if they want to. A lot of low health bars, but they've got enough front line to maybe attempt this.
They can. They can go towards this Nash. Irrelevant can tank it. Honeyfruit to keep them topped up. No ultimates on Vitality. Flashes on the carries. Photon's incredibly low though, and he's their front line. Certus needs to save his stun as long as possible. Make sure he uses it very well. He does land it onto Perks. Good stun.
CC. Coon beautiful there. Perks, Hex Drinker Shield gonna fall away in just a second here.
They're all so low.
There's no way they can do this. They have to concede this. SK grabbing the Baron. And again, we have to give credit to this team. It was controlled. They put it together so well. And when you look at the standings, this might not be what you expect from this lineup going toe-to-toe with the Vitality, who were on the road to being undefeated at the end of this week.
Yeah, fantastic game from them so far. A couple of hiccups here and there, but they're ahead. Certus has recovered a lot of that experience deficit. And it's Marcoon who's been the driving factor, but Vitality over-forcing here a bit. They get the kill top, then they TP behind, don't really achieve anything. They try to flash in, they don't achieve anything. Irrelevant then respawns and TPs in. Bit of disrespect from Vitality perhaps, and then in a 4v5 situation with Ornn being this low on HP, it's really hard for them to walk up, and now SK trying to press that advantage forward. See if they can look for any tier 2s here. Dragon's up in 15 seconds, but only the second Drake for them. They ideally want to crack open these tier 2s. Mid and bot looks like their focus.
Yeah, Perks has to be careful here. Obviously, you can buffer just about anything with that rocket jump, but if you miss it or multiple pieces of CC come through,
a fight.
it can be difficult. Both these tank ultimates coming out. Now, instead of going for the members in the pinch, he's going for Circus on the backside. That's going to be Bo now taking down Exakick, looking to pop off here. Yumiel, just as a tool to disengage.
Wow. So, maybe Bo was expecting the Ornn to land on the 2 that were rooted, but instead it went through mid, and then Bo went in and died. Nice cocoon to land on from Marcoon onto Bo. Now they'll get bot tier 2. I don't think they can push for tier 3. We'll have to see. They have a small wave. Dragon's up. That could be the easy exit objective. There's no point of going to it straight away when you have Baron. You want to use that as an exit objective. So they are going to go for this tower. See if they can wave here. They have to save Tristana, but how can they step up? Looks like they'll get the majority of the wave, and then SK will say, okay, well, we tried. There was no harm in trying, and now we'll go towards this Dragon.
Happy to grab the Drake. Have to be careful, though. On the side of Vitality, Irrelevant is a very, very scary champion at this point in the game.
So, BDS sitting at 3 wins right now near the top of the table. SK, if they win this game, will sit at 3 wins as well. We're looking at it.
You know what I'm seeing right now?
XL and
all
Fnatic
of
at the
our
bottom.
early season predictions, or 90% of them, were just completely wrong.
Let's look at this Ornn here. If it could land on the Elise and the Zeri, maybe that's where Bo thought the turn would be. But instead it went towards Certus. So, a bit of misalignment there. They get the tower, then they go towards bot. Irrelevant already has a wave, and then they get 3 objectives. 2 towers. Oh, hang on a second, Perks.
just going to do so much damage here. There's really just nowhere for Perks to go. Flash out to safety. Irrelevant backing away, holding on to his flash. I think just happy to be up the flash for the coming fight, which does make sense.
Holds the flash, you're completely right. Could have got that kill quite easily. Flash also, he was dead. But he wants to save it. He knows it'll be more important later on. There's nothing to play for right now. Their Baron buffs off in 10. Certus has a top wave going in, but SK is a bit too far away to collapse and take that final tier 2. So now it's just going to be a bit of a waiting game for SK. Hold vision. Don't let Vitality walk into river. Don't let them get vision. Don't let them set up with saplings and then look for this next Baron.
But this is the kind of advantage that SK had to build. Because again, if we came into 25 minutes with dead, even compositions, this game would have been so hard. But because they have advantage, because they have priority in so many of these lanes, they can set up vision first. They can find flank. They can poke out some of these members. If it was on the other foot and Vitality was just dropping saplings and setting vision down around dragons, there would just be no way for SK to approach these fights. So it is massive for them and their hopes in this game that they've been able to build the lead that they have.
Certainly is. It'll slow down a bit now, though. X-Kick just got the Infinity Edge. 3 items Zeri, really, really strong next to the Lulu. Spiking incredibly hard. Neon's quite far away from that Infinity Edge. But the Ornn items are coming in. The Sivir is already upgraded. See how many more Photon can get before before SK start pressing their advantage. They can still play for this top tier 2. They just need to play it very well, where Renekton pushes out the next bot wave, moves mid, catches the next mid wave, they collapse with Zeri top, and it's just a 4-man shift up. Perks has TP though.
Yeah. Down bot side should be pretty easy for Vitality to just match here and contest. Irrelevant, uncontested on the bot lane for now.
Bit difficult. 280 carries, a lot of wave clear.
And in this, we are now in the waiting game portion, and this is, again, we talked about it in draft. I don't want to oversell it here, but if we go late enough, you have to favor the Ornn. That said, SK aren't at that point yet. They're still holding on to their gold advantage.
But to be honest, when Irrelevant gets GA, I think he's just more useful in the Ornn until 2 or 3 more items come in. The GA just buying so much time, and he's getting closer and closer towards it.
I think the thing is that once Elise and Syndra have kind of thrown their combos out, if Ornn wants to hit them, that's great. But I don't think he's ever hitting the Zeri, and he's certainly not hitting the Renekton, and that is a big problem. The Maokai ult and the Ornn ult are going to feel great if they're in a pinch, if they're locked down by someone else, but they're so telegraphed, and they're so slow compared to a lot of other engage abilities that you're just never going to hit the Zeri who has Ghost, who has ulti, who's just so damn fast.
And Bo can never really use W on him because he's playing this AP build, doesn't have phase rush to get out, doesn't have any tanky item, just gets melted straight away with barely any resistances. But Neon has Infinity Edge. Kaiser just picked up Mikhail's. So now, are we going to see Misfits Neon connect to this game? The Sivir we saw in the playoffs last year that almost got Misfits to Worlds alongside VTO, just incredibly consistent, matching Exakick's items, if not slightly ahead because of that Ornn upgrade. Let's see what he can get done. Irrelevant still has that flash that he's saved. Baron's up in 20 seconds. SK will start pushing in mid and bot, pushing in top by Certus, getting all the vision down around Vitality's blue side jungle. And now Vitality have to find a way in, sweep it out, be really careful on face checks though. One Cocoon, one Syndra stun. That target's dead.
Well, the good news is if they walk in to anything other than 5 members, the Ornn is tanky enough to at least face check a lot of what SK can bring to the table, but the map is so incredibly dark at this stage.
Saplings can check. They're going to go through mid. Don't even want to go through their own jungle. Don't want to face check those bushes. They just want to crash the waves. Look at the damage that Sapling did. That's DOS's HP bar, but X-Kick just ults.
Just getting run down here again. He's so squishy because of this AP build. Yes, the Saplings hit like a truck, but is it going to be enough? X-Kick now leaping out over the wall. That's all the mobility gone, but no one's going to get hit by the Ornn ultimate. Irrelevant right into the backline. He's shredding through Vitality. One member taken out. The GA now coming out. Maybe this is their opportunity to reset the fight. Neon, the ulti, already utilized. DOS so low, almost sniped over the wall. It's a close exchange. Both 80 carries still standing. They still have that beefy front line waiting in front of them. SK, how aggressive are they feeling? Do they really think they can start this Baron?
They need to lifesteal, reset, buy time. DOS needs to go back to base, get more wards, get his health bar back up. Certus finds Photon.
Excellent, excellent ulti.
And that's the time window they need. Now they can reset. They have enough time to work with. X-Kick lives through Perks' burst, and now they can start up the Baron. The red buff on the Zeri will heal her up. And this mid push from Vitality, it looked good initially, but Bo falls. Irrelevant just instantly one-shot straight through that Maokai. And it's the Guardian Angel that makes it so SK can win that fight and afford to go for that aggressive play. They will respond with a Dragon here, but we can see the damage Neon can do. Irrelevant steps up too far forward, that Sivir just melts through you. They're going to lose a top tier 2 here. SK still yet to base. Certus can recall and TP back in if he wants to.
Perk's going to do what he can to hold the wave here, but just not a lot of room for him to maneuver. We'll have to concede the tier 2. Getting Cloud does put them up to Soul Point, and those ultis are crucial in the big team fights. But you saw in the last game, or in the previous fight, if it's hard for either the Ornn or the Maokai to really be the primary initiator with just their ultimates.
Yeah. I wonder what SK can actually get done with this Baron. I'm not sure if they can crack an inhibitor unless Vitality make a mistake. All they're going to have to do is sit in their base and just throw saplings over the wall and just clear the waves with Sivir. But here's the fight again. Bo, the Cocoon, I think X-Kick thought that Cocoon would land, so that's why he instantly pre-ults thinking he can burst him down. The damage on dots from the saplings is just so much. The Yuumi ult, Neon has to flash away here thinking that Irrelevant's going to Prowler's Claw on him, but he goes for Bo instead. And no spell shield, no flash, no barrier. Neon just plays it really slow. Fighting River though. Maybe Vitality found a pick.
Marcoon caught out. This could be big. Surge is waiting off to the side. It's a big stun. Is it enough to keep the fight going? Irrelevant still has flash. Irrelevant. Maybe he can leap his way to the backline. X-Kick untouched. It's huge! The Crocodile, he holds on to the flash for so long across so many fights, but he will find Perks when it counts. And X-Kick now on cleanup duty as Photon has to run for the hills. SK, they took down G2 yesterday, and they're on the path to take down Vitality right here.
That is game over in the River there. SK collapse instantly on Vitality's play. They could have just sat in base and tried to hold the line and scale up a little bit more, but they look for the pick. Marcoon buys enough time. The collapse comes through, and that's SK 2-0 so far this weekend. G2 and Vitality undefeated coming in. SK handing them their first loss.
SK knocking down G2, knocking down Vitality, and that man on your screen right now, Irrelevant, deserves so much love. A beautiful Renekton performance, and I thought he didn't even use the flash. He was just holding it. He's like double lift saving it for next game, but he actually wins things, Mark. It's incredible.
It is, and our league is also incredible. What's going on? SK just taking down the top teams, BDS finding upsets too. The standings are all shaken up.
And credit to SK.
Yeah.
I felt like based on what we saw yesterday that every single team that was going to win today would kind of just outscale or stomp in the early game, and SK refused to be outscaled. They outplayed across so many different moments in the game. Marcoon again, don't think he's getting Elise again, believe it or not, based on the last two performances, and really just a team-wide effort. Yesterday, it really felt like, you know, Certus was the one who stepped up alongside Marcoon. Today, Irrelevant, X-Kick also just playing fantastically. So SK, more and more starting to feel like the whole package, at least for this weekend. We'll see what happens in the weeks to come, but an incredible day, an incredible 2 days now for SK.
Definitely has been. Found the formula that works for them, and that's what the best of ones are all about. The first round is all about, well, I say first round, there's only one round now, but it's all about finding a formula for success, whether that's scaling, whether that's heavy early game, anything that can get you these wins on the board to get you to the next round is just so crucial. And now SK sitting at 3, one more win, kind of soft locks them into top 8. I don't want to say the numbers because of course there can be tiebreakers and such, but yeah, SK and BDS flying.
I'm speechless, to be honest. It's incredible 2 days for SK. BDS as well. I think defying so many of our expectations thus far, and I honestly love to see it. Challenge those expectations, show the world that you've got more, and today SK showed us.
Yeah.
But player of the game at LEC on Twitter, Irrelevant, Marcoon, X-Kick are your options.
I think Marcoon had an insane early game, just outclassing Bo, finding plays for his team, and although the gold was even, it was Marcoon finding those plays to keep them in an even state, being able to get that mid-game and skirmish around those objectives.
X-Kick, great fights.
Yep.
Irrelevant, hero performance on the Renekton. Absolutely unplayable for whatever 80 carry happened to wander close enough to him to do anything. So no doubt it was a team effort, but for now, we're going to head over to Lore and hear from Certus, the man in the mid lane.
Thank you, guys. Certus for his very first on-stage LEC interview. Thank you for joining me today. I want to talk about the non-Yuumi agreement on Twitter. You were mentioning that you knew they were going to first pick the champion?
Yes, I mean, we have high prio on the champ, and I think they also have high prio on the champ. So, and Yuumi is still broken. That's why we kind of knew they will first pick it.
I hope the cat goes away soon, and I think the audience thinks the same. Certus. Thank you, guys. I'm really happy to talk to you today because we had this conversation last year about your improvements and everything. How much stronger do you feel this time with SK compared to your first year in the LEC?
I'm definitely much more confident.
It shows.
Also with my new roster, I think I have really good teammates, especially it showed today. I didn't do that much. And yeah, I'm really happy so far.
Getting carried today, let's say.
Yes, I did my job in the last fight. I just flash ulted the ADC and he died.
Joking, of course. But
Yeah.
yeah, you guys have been doing an amazing job so far. And talking to Exakik and the rest of the team backstage, it feels like playing more loose and relaxed. Joking a bit is really playing well for you. Can you tell me about the whole mood within SK and how much you guys trust each other to display this kind of performance on stage?
Yeah, I mean, our scrum results were really decent. But then when we went into the first week, we felt like really nervous. And we just tried for the second week to be calm, be relaxed, confident, play like it's a scrum game. And so far it shows we bet G2 and Vitality.
Yeah, G2, Vitality, Koi tomorrow. We'll talk about this one a bit later. I had a quick question about the draft. We saw Perks picking Tristana blind this time. What do you think of the champion and the choice he made here?
I mean, the champ is pretty strong in lane.
Yeah.
But I think you get outscaled in the current meta. And yeah, that's why I don't think it's that good at the moment.
At all, because I think it's the first competitive Tristana in major regions, so you don't expect we'll see the champion again.
No, I will
No?
not expect it.
All right. Well, enough about the meta. Let's focus on tomorrow. G2 down, Vitality down today, the two undefeated teams so far. What do you have cooking for Koi tomorrow?
I mean, we will be prepared. We will
Yeah.
be much more confident than Koi. I think like yesterday they lost to Heretics. And yeah, I'm just excited. Can't wait to play against them.
Yeah, it's been an amazing week for you guys so far. We'll see if it continues against Koi tomorrow. So just thank you so much for this interview. We will see you for the last game, and we're going to take a short break now. And we'll be back in a couple of minutes for Team Heretics versus G2 Esports. Yonkers versus his former team. Stay tuned.